Okay, welcome to this tutorial which is going to show you how to create detailed drawings of the parts for the toe ball assembly. You can see here on my screen I've got the finished product. I'll just jump back to the classwork as well to show you. So there's the PDF document put into PowerPoint. I suppose the question arises before you start any detailed drawing is, for what purpose are they created? Well, they're created for the manufacturer to be able to reproduce the part. So you've got to ask yourself the question, well, how many views of the object do I need? And then how many dimensions do I need? Well, you need enough views to be able to see all the critical information and to place the dimensions that you use to actually model the part in Creo. So with that in mind, we can see that I've chosen a front view and a top view of the tow bar. I didn't choose a side view because there wasn't any information on that side view that I couldn't include on the front or top. But if we look over here, we have the bracket, and I have included 3 views of the bracket. We've got information relating to threads on one, hole sizes and so on. And then also on the bolt, I've included the front view and the top view only. So we use this as a guide now to actually you guys to doing yours. I suppose if we look at the next slide as well, that's the other 4 pieces as well for the bolt, the spring washer, the sleeve and the hex nut. I might show you also at some later tutorial how to do a half section of a bolt or something like that as well. Okay, so let's dart back to Creo and let's start the ball rolling. So make sure you're in the correct working directory, make sure you've got your parts in the same directory, then File, New and Drawing. Call mine Detail underscore Towbar and underscore 2016. So remember what they're called, and I might even call this one A because it's going to be, actually we can do 2 sheets, I'll show you how to do that later on. So I'll just call it Towbar 2016, click OK. Empty with format is where we want to go, so this is the second button there, and because it's a detailed drawing, we'll click on the browse icon and find the detail format. That will then avoid the having the parts list appearing in the bottom right hand corner, because it is a detailed drawing, not an assembly drawing. Click on open, click OK, and we should get a blank page. Okay, so it's prompting you for some information, so you're going to put your name in, enter, drawing number. Well, this is the first set of drawings. I'm just going to call mine 001, enter, class will be 11 graphics, enter, and the material I'm going to put various and enter. All that information then appears down in the title block, your name, the name of the actual file you've called it, materials and so on. So what we'll do now is we'll now add the models that we want into the memory of Creo. So we're going to bring in on this page the tow bar, the bracket and the bolt. So come up to Drawing Models tab here, click on Drawing Models, click on Add Model, and like I said, we're going to open the bracket, then we're going to go Add Model again, and we're going to open the tow bar, Add Model again, and we're going to open the bolt as well. So I've got those 3 there. Then the first drawing I want to bring in is going to be of the tow bar. So at this point we'll click on Set Model. And when you click on Set Model, you can then see these are the active files that are sitting in memory of Creo. So we'll choose the tow bar, click on Done, come over to your screen. You can right click your mouse, or you can click on General, click OK, and then left mouse click to give us our first view. So I'll change this now in view type to being front, just so we're double clicking on it, zoom in, zoom out. It doesn't give us the view that I'm after really. What I want to do is probably then change it from front to perhaps a right view. There we go, and yes, that is the correct orientation for what I'm going to call a front view. So even though it's called right, it doesn't matter as long as we can see that's the orientation that we're after. So at this point I'm just going to accept everything else. I'm not going to change anything else to the properties of that view. I'm just going to hit apply and close. I'll pull that view down a little bit, and then I'm going to project a top view above that. So right click on that, insert projection view, and then project a top view above. Now you can see straight away that the drawing is quite small on the page, so we need to change the scale of this drawing. So what we'll do here is we'll change the scale of the first view that we bring in, so then the dependent view or the child view will also change with it. So back to the first view we brought in, double click onto it, come down to scale, and let's choose a different scale. Let's go say 0.5 just for argument's sake, and enter, and apply, and close. That's looking a bit more like probably what I'm after. Now we've got to also get these other drawings in, so what we might do now, we might add those at the same scale. There's a rule that if you're going to put more than one part onto a detailed drawing, you must have them at the same scale, or it's misleading if they're not. So now we'll go back up to drawing model, set model, and this time we'll choose the bracket. Done. Click on general, click OK, left click again, and you can see the bracket comes in. We'll go for a front view, that's good. And while we're there, we'll just check the scale, and you can see the scale is at 1, which is not the same as our Towbar. So let's change that to the same as the Towbar, which was 0.5, and enter, and apply, and close, and close. I'll zoom in on that, and before I do anything else, I'm going to project a top view above it, and then also project a right view beside it. Okay, and the last part I'm going to bring in is going to be the bolt down the bottom here. So back to drawing models, set model, this time the bolt, there it is there, and done. So I'm going to go right click, insert general view, and once again change this. So I'm going to see what comes up with the front view, zoom in, zoom out. Yeah, that's probably what I'm after, but the scale obviously needs to be changed. Change that to 0.5, so all the objects, all the parts I should say on the page are all the same scale. Apply and close. Pull that down a little bit, perhaps to the center here, and then project a top view above that front view, which is going to give me a good look at that. Now you might look at that and you go, oh, so it looks a bit small on the page. I'll just zoom fit it. Once we add some dimensions and so on, it'll probably fill out the page quite a bit. So we'll leave that at all the objects at all the same scale, and then we'll also start to divide up the page a little bit as well. So if we go back to the solution and have a look, we can see here that we've got probably 5/8 of the page taken up with the Towbar, and the rest of it with the with the bolt and also the bracket. Does look a bit larger, but we'll just persevere with 0.5 scale first, and we'll see how we go from there. It's really trial and error, really. What we'll do now, I should say, is we'll focus our attention to the dimensioning of the Towbar. And then we'll move on to the dimensioning for the bracket and the bolt. So if we think about what dimensions do we need to put onto the Towbar, well, it's the dimensions that were required to actually draw it. And you can kind of use that fact that you had to use geometry to draw it to define the dimensions. What I mean by that is this. If we go back to Creo, let's select the front view, and if we go along now to the Annotate tab, and then we go to our little torch here that says Show Model Annotations. And because I had selected that front view, you can now see that these are all the dimensions that were required when we drew the object back in the modeling stage. So sometimes you can actually go through and select the ones that you want, which might help to give you clarity as to how many to put in there. Other times it's easier just to start from scratch. What I might do here, I think, because there's so many dimensions there and it's a bit confusing, I might leave that now. I could actually, if I wanted to, I could click on that 30 there and then you can see it highlights down in the list somewhere down here. I should have highlighted and I'll click it again. There you see it turns black and that highlights over here. I'll do perhaps one other dimension. I won't do these ones here. I'll zoom in a bit, see if I can find something worthwhile. I think that 85 was one I'll need, and perhaps not that 16, and I'll leave those ones there. Now, there's a lot there that are going to be on the top view, so that'll do. I'll hit apply and then cancel, and you can see those two dimensions then come in, if you like, automatically, I suppose, rather than having to do them manually. So let's now look back at our solution and let's see how many dimensions do we need. Okay, well, we need this 30 degrees down here, which we just put in. We'll show you how to do that as well. We need an overall height, thickness, and overall length as well, but remembering what we did establish that overall length when we drew it by different methods, so we probably won't put a full length in. But let's turn our attention first to the height and to the thickness or of the actual tow bar there. So we go back to Creo, and using the dimension tool, which is in the Annotate tab, click on Dimension, zoom in on that area there, and I'm going to go from the very top edge, so click once, to the bottom edge, and then once I've got those two edges, I move my cursor over to where I want the dimension to go, and I send a mouse button to then finish. No, I don't. What did that do to me? Try that again. 1, 2, send a mouse button. There we go. So we've got the 56 millimeters for its overall height. Now, before I go any further, I'm just going to hit return. And if we zoom in here, we've got a problem. And the problem is that we can see the red line here, which represents the leader line, is actually attaching to the outline, and that's no good. This is confusing as to where this stops being an outline and when it starts becoming a leader line. As I put my cursor towards the end of the leader line, you'll see it turns into that black dot. Grab the black dot with your left mouse, pull it back, and then always leave a small gap between the outline that you're dimensioning to and the edge of the leader line. So that's that end, and also down here as well. We'll do the similar thing. We'll pull that this way a little bit, and that gives clarity to the person who's reading it that this is the leader line and that's the outline, and so on. While we're there, we'll grab that 85, which I think is a little bit ordinary at the moment. Drag it up above it perhaps. Not too sure even where that's going to go there, and we'll do the same thing. Pull these leader lines up out of the road. Actually, that one there would leave because it is to that point there. This 30 here, I could select that and then pull it down, hopefully. There we go. Down there like so. Makes it a lot neater. So dimensioning is all about not just putting sizes all over it, but having dimensions there that are readable as well. So there's the 56. Let's do another lateral one. We'll do the 16. So if I click on dimension, so one technique was to go 2 lines. Another technique with the dimension tool is just to select one line. So this 16 millimeter long here, if I click onto it, select it, move my cursor to the left, send a mouse button. Oh, it's being a pain. Let's try that again. Dimension. Having some issues with my mouse here. Select that line. center mouse button. I had to do it twice for some reason that time. And then you can you can see that does the 16mm. So I didn't have to select 2 lines. I could select 1 line and then center mouse button. I had to push it twice. Okay, so so that's linear dimensions. That's angular dimension. Oh, to put an angular dimension in, it's really simple. Click on dimension. I click on 1 line. For some reason, it keeps dropping out of that. It's a bit weird. Click on 1 line. Click on another line. Center mouse click out where you want the dimension to go, and you can see the angular dimension goes in. If you want to delete a dimension, you select it by getting out of that function first. So select it, goes red. You can right click and then hit delete, or you can select it and then you can hit function delete on your keyboard, depending on which way you want to go about doing it. Let's go back to our drawing, and we can see it's not just dimensions that exist on here, but there's also these lines here. Whoops, I thought I was zooming in, but I wasn't. These lines here, which are called center lines. Now, center lines are a long dash, short dash, long dash line that represent the center of a hole or any other cylindrical or part of cylindrical extrusion. So we can see here, these are the center lines for these 2 diameter of 16 holes. The center lines are the diameter of 22. And we also see those center lines in front view here. This is the center line for that curve, and so likewise down here as well. We can also see we've got hidden detail lines here representing those holes there and there as well. So to put center lines in, it's really quite simple. We go back to Creo. I'm going to select that view again. This time I'm going to click on to show model annotation. I'm going to click light again. And in the tabs in the show model annotations dialog, if you go to the far right one, it actually then will put in the center lines, if you like, automatically. So all you need to do then is highlight the ones you want and click on them to make them go black. 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to leave that one there. And click on apply, and click on cancel, and you can see the center lines have gone in. Repeat that same procedure then also for the top view. Show model annotation, choose the center lines. These are like crosshairs in the top view. I'm going to choose that one. Oh, okay, I need to plug my battery in. And I'm going to leave that one out because I don't think that's really required. And click on apply and cancel and so on. Alright, so I think there's probably enough there for you now to have a go at doing these dimensions. Oh, okay, we need diameter. We'll do that with you, and then you can have a go at the rest of it. So diameter symbols or diameter dimensions. Diameter is pretty simple. Click on dimension. Click on the edge of the curve or the cylinder that you want to dimension once. I think it's twice for a diameter. Then move your cursor away, center mouse button, and you can see here that comes at the diameter. If you want a radial dimension, you click on the curve once, move your cursor away, center mouse button. Generally, the rule is if it's a closed circle, then it's a diameter symbol. If it's part of a circle or part of an arc, it's a radius. So I'll just get out of that. I'll then select this one by itself, right click onto it and delete it, and then I'd repeat that process for these ones here. So click once, click twice, center mouse button. Oh, made a lie out of me, I'll try that again. Dimension, click once, click twice, center mouse button, there we go. Now we can also see that there's a little issue in that I don't really like the way that these arrowheads are protruding inside here, especially with these diameter symbols. That's quite, the larger ones okay, but the smaller ones it's quite confusing. So you do have the ability, if you select the dimension and you right click, you can scroll towards the bottom where it says flip arrows, and this will scroll through a different way of displaying the arrow. This is probably an appropriate way for displaying the arrowhead for these small circles. We can see the arrowhead still points to the center of the feature, but it doesn't fill it up as such. We'll try that over here with 22 as well. I'm going to select it, right click, flip arrows. That didn't quite work for some strange reason. I'll try that again. Flip arrow, there we go. And then as you see here, you can grab the dimension and you can move it around as well. Generally speaking, we try to keep the dimensions outside the drawing where we can. Okay, so that's enough skills you need to do the dimensioning of those parts. The only other one would be text. If we just quickly go back to here. Yeah, okay, so the text tool is another thing for these chamfers and so on, so what we might do, I'll quickly show you that. And then you guys are pretty right to go. Let's do the chamfer 2x45. So I'm going to come down to where that chamfer is. I'm going to go this time, instead of using the annotate, I'm going to use annotate. I'm going to come along to where it says note. I'm going to have a leader line, so I'm going to go with leader. I'm going to then click on make note. I'm going to put the note on the surface of it, and I'm going to have the end of the note a filled dot. Then I hover over the actual object that I want to annotate. You can see here it's pre-highlighting. So I'll click once there, and then I'll click OK. Click on done. Select a point for somewhere on the drawing to put the note. So I'll just click there once, and then I can put in information that I want. So it was a chamfer 4x45, and then the degrees symbol comes up here in your text. So there's the degrees symbol there. Did that select? Try that again. There it goes. There's the degrees symbol, and then you tick OK. Twice you tick OK, and you can see the note then comes in. To get out of that, hit done return, and then you can add the other notes as required. Okay, that's a big one, but you can then got enough there to do all that dimensioning.